So in this video we are going to recap the 2042-43 European campaign, as well as looking at the winter transfer window from 42 to 43, having a look at the start of the 2043 season, and also the youth intake. It's a lot to take in, but welcome to Build a Nation.
This is just an intro, you better believe it. Jesus, that was bad. Yep, welcome to the series.
So welcome into today's episode. I feel like I might have stretched myself a little bit. I've tried to adjust it to up the quality from 1080p. I've tried to go up to the next one up because just see if it looked a little bit better. But I think I might have stretched my webcam. So hopefully I haven't. I think this screen looks more clear, but I think this one I've stretched a little bit. We'll have a look into it. But you can see I've got some outs on the transfers there. Probably not the right screen to start on. So let's head over to the 2042 Champions League results. So we started off travelling to Nice in France, and let me tell you, it was not a nice situation as we lost the game 3-0 and started our Champions League run in defeat. 3-0. 3-0. And we had 15 shots to 11, a 1.48 XG to 1.34, and we lost 3-0. I did start to panic a bit, -6, another 3-0 defeat, this time at home to Gladbach, and yeah, a little bit concerned about how we were looking. Now I was calmed down in the next game where we came up against Wolves, who seem to be a regular Champions League side now, and we got a 1-0 victory with Crawl on the score sheet, so that's 3 points from our first 3 games. Now 3 points from the first 12 points available. Getting a bit of a worry now. Another home game, another defeat. Egerson 0, Dortmund 2. Now we did then travel to Turkey, and Janssen on the score sheet got us a 1-1 draw. And okay, 1-1 not bad, but we were struggling. Now luckily we travelled to Italy and played Atalanta and got a 2-0 victory. And with 2 early goals, Crawl and Anthony. It was needed, and it was definitely nice going to the winter break with 7 points on the board instead of the only 4 I was scared we were going to have at this point. So going into the transfer window, I did pick up quite a few signings, but again, it was all about adding that young depth to the squad. Maybe players who we can then move on to other Norwegian clubs. And I do have a couple of examples of that which have happened on the next screen. But first off, Yanni Serra comes in. He is a right back stroke centre back. He's from Germany. He's only 16. We picked him up when he was 15 years old. Signed for 300k. Does he have a lot of potential? I don't think so. But he is only 16. So let's give him a couple of years. See how he develops. And maybe if he doesn't make it, he will stay in Norway and go and play for a different club. And the next player coming in for 2 million is a 17-year-old centre-back from Stabæk. The idea behind bringing in Ridger is that he is going to play and get trained by our coaching staff and then maybe move back into the Norwegian league system with a different club. But 2 million, they wanted 1 million, so again I've started paying over the odds, so I gave them 2. The next player coming in from Berglim for 2.3, they wanted 1.1 million, and we again paid over the odds. He's an attacking midfielder. He's not a world beater, but he looks okay. 18 years old. I wanted to add a bit more depth in midfield, but make that depth Norwegian players and not foreign players, because we were getting close to that limit. So bringing him in, Björn back, and I think he could do okay, 2.3 million. The next player coming in for 70k from HamKam. And this is one of the mistakes. This was a pre-arranged deal, and this was one of the deals which convinced me that we should start paying more money. He's actually played 3 games for us because we had a major goalkeeping issue this season so far. But coming in is Pritz, and yeah, can he develop? Potentially. Signed when he was only 15, came in when he was 16. We'll see how we can do. Next one from Stromsgodset, they wanted 500,000 from him, so we paid 1.6 million. 16 years old. He is a centre midfielder who can play left back. I'm going to actually retrain and play right back as well. I think he has potential. I honestly think he has a lot of potential, and we are starting to see a lot more 15, 16-year-olds willing to join the club, where before they all had to be 18. Next player is Guttlesrod. Now, they wanted 2 million. Stabæk produced some quality, by the way. They wanted 2 million, so we paid them 5, again with the idea of just trying to pump more money in these Norwegian clubs. Now, this kid's coming with the potential of actually being in our first team. He has already played 8 games for the first team in the first half of the season he's been with us. Yeah, I like this one. I like him. I think as a rotation option, the fact he's Norwegian, the fact we're not taking up a foreign slot, I really do think he's a solid player. Good personality, good pros. His cons are not a major issue. I think we got a good player there. I really do, for 5 million. And finally, Elias Lopez comes in from Cordoba. Again, with the idea of if he doesn't develop, he will hopefully stay in the league. Looks really good. Just turned 17. Signed when he was 16 years old in terms of negotiating the contract. Play for our youth team. 2 years in our youth team. See how you develop. If you haven't developed massively, move you on, sell you for cheap. So only one player here, which was a player we sent out to Junkeren, which was Terzi, who has played 10 games for our first team, but he is not that good still. 17 years old. Let's move him on. Let's see how we can do playing for one of our feeder clubs. And going on to the 43 early signings, we brought in one player from Nordsjælland, Mori Aker. Now, I was trying to sign this guy for the last 18 months. He's 18 years old now. Finally wanted to come to us. Central defender, 6'3", just all round solid. So for coming in for 1 million, I'm really pleased to pay so little for him. And honestly, I think he could develop into a great player. Playing for our under-19s this season. Let him get some football. Let him develop. Let him learn the language. And then we'll see how he does. Now, in terms of the outs, I learned something. I have learned something. It's 2043 and I've just learned it. But think of the positives. It could have took longer. So, I found an issue with the Norwegian League. You can only loan out 8 players per season. And this is a major issue. What's the point of only being able to loan out 8 players? It's just really hampering us developing players and helping the league grow. So Niang is going to play for Junkeren this season. Hopefully he can get some game time for them. He's not played really yet. And Bjorkland also is a Junkeren again. Still seeing how he can develop, seeing if he can turn into a good player. Couple of sales now to mention. So Sam H has gone to Viking. They put in a 235k bid. This was again the situation where he wants to stay in Norway. Let him stay. I accepted the bid no matter what. We took a big loss on him, I think it was. I think we paid 1.5, yeah. So we took a loss, but the fact we can't loan players out, I just needed to find a way to help clubs grow more in the league. So now I'm accepting anything that comes in from Norwegian clubs. Another example is Eduard Pescu, the young Romanian we picked up. We took a big loss on him, 1.6, sold to odds for 155k, again with the idea that hopefully he will develop and keep improving. Other players go now. Juan Gutierrez, mainly due to the foreign player rule, the fact we couldn't loan that many players out. Paid 2.2, sold for 4.3 plus 50% next sale. I think that's a good bit of business. Uldal has left us. Came through the academy. Never really broke into the first team. Never became a prolific goal scorer. I didn't want to sell him, but he wanted to leave to get football. I've been trying to sell him to a Norwegian club, but nobody wanted him. So I've ended up just letting him go. He's gone to Lazio, 2.7 total, plus 50% next sale. And Jakob Johansson has left us to Feyenoord. I tried everything to secure this academy player, but he just didn't want to speak to me. He was just wanting to leave. But yeah, now the plan is to sell anyone to Norwegian clubs who I can. And if we go to the outs currently, you can see where is it? It's not there. Hang on. Oh, the contract got cancelled. Okay. Sivertsen was linked to a Norwegian club for 1 million, and I accepted it. Now, yes, he's in and around the first team. He's been with us for a few years. He's playing games. But we have a youngster who can be the backup right back. So I thought, you know what? Let him go. Any Norwegian clubs that come in for my players, as long as they're not a star player, I'm letting them go. I need to get this nation building quicker. And if it means selling some of these players who are useful for me, let them go. I can rebuild, let them go. So continue now the Champions League run went then Dynamo Zagreb 2, Egerton 2, first game after the Christmas break. Krall and Anthony, we also missed a penalty, but that took us to 8 points. And we ended with a defeat to PSG, a 3-2 defeat. Sauer, our young Polish striker who has been developing and doing fairly well for us, and also Buzek on the score sheet as well, who is our young Czech wonder kid who obviously we picked up last season. He is continuing to develop nicely, but a defeat there. But luckily for us, the 3 wins against Real Betis. Did I not look at that game? I feel like I didn't show that game. Real Betis, Atalanta and Wolves, and a draw to Galatasaray, and then the 4 defeats, PSG, Dortmund, Gladbach and Nice. The 10 points was enough to see us through to the next round. Now in the knockout round, we came up against Nice, a team who beat us in the group stage, and we lost the first leg 4-3. Disappointing. Buzek with 2 and Krall on score sheet. We had to travel to France and get a result. And we did it. A 2-1 victory, which took the game into penalties, and we won the penalty shootout 5-3, which ended with an outgrade of 5-5, us going through 5-3 on penalties. We were into the round of 16. Now, in the round of 16, we came up against Real Betis, and again, defeat at home. A 1-0 defeat at home. It was all to do in Spain. But let me tell you, we stepped up. Kyle, Krall with 2 and Buzek on the score sheet. A 4-2 victory away in Spain saw us into the quarterfinals. In terms of the quarterfinals, it was all but done after the first leg. A 5-1 defeat in London to Tottenham. Now, we did get a 2-0 victory at home, which saw us at least pick up some points for that win in terms of coefficient points, but a 5-3 defeat in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Now, the Champions League was won in the end by Milan, who have now won it back-to-back. Just quickly, Europa League winners was Aston Villa beating Lorient, and Man United lost to Espanyol in the Conference League. Bit of a spoiler, Norwegian clubs didn't win any of them, but I guess you already knew that. So let's check out how the coefficient points looked after that, and then check how the other teams did in Europe. I'll tell you what, before we check the coefficient point, let's see how the clubs did in Europe. That might help us understand the coefficient points more. So first off, Stabæk, who were in the Europa League, and it doesn't look good. Defeats Fortuna Düsseldorf, Lausanne, Sport, Panathinaikos and Apoel. A draw against Marseille, a victory over Cluj, and a victory over Olympiacos, but defeat Ajax saw them go out in the group stage of the Europa League. So in terms of Vålerenga, they played in the Conference League qualifying, and they beat IA of Iceland 1-0 before a draw away from home. They then came up against Braga in the third round and lost away before victory at home saw them come up against Maccabi Haifa. Robbie Keane's Maccabi Haifa in real life just won the title, and unfortunately they got knocked out in qualifying. A 1-2 defeat at home before 2-2 draw away wasn't enough. They didn't even make it to the group stage. So now let's look at Viking Stavanger. So they came against Besiktas in the qualifying for the Europa League, and after a draw at home they picked up a victory away which saw them go through. That saw them play Fenerbahce first in the group stage, a 2-2 draw, defeat to Lorient, a victory over Basel, victory over Copenhagen, a draw away in Partizan, and then a victory over Ilves. And that saw them looking like they were going to go through, but they lost to Celtic and drew against Calgary. But it was enough. They came against Celtic, though, in the playoff round, and as you can see, they just fell short, drawing away before losing at home 2-1. But they did get to the knockout rounds. I'm a bit concerned about our points, though. So next up is Bøder Glimt, and they came against Nordsjælland in the second qualifying round of the Europa League, and they are a very good side. And defeat home and away saw them go out 5-0 on aggregate. Coming into Conference League qualifying, they beat Sparta Trnava 2-0 away before a draw at home, but unfortunately went out to Lech Poznan on penalties. A 2-1 defeat at home, a 2-1 victory away, but penalties saw them go out in qualifying as well. A very, very poor run for Norwegian side so far. So how did them runs affect us? First off, the league stays in 10th. In terms of us, we've rose 5 places with 20th best ranked club in Europe now. Coefficient-wise, we stay in 10th, but we really are struggling. 10.7 we picked up last season, which was better than Turkey and... Sorry, we picked up 9.6, which was better than Turkey, but less than Sweden. So we currently sit on 43.2. And let's have a look. Turkey at 44, Denmark at 47, so they have a big jump ahead of us. We need successful seasons. We need teams to step up, please. We are falling behind, and we need to start chasing down Denmark and getting that top 8 again, and then chase Portugal. We need to step up, and that's why I need to almost be giving players to other clubs in Norway now to help them, because it's been a bad few years. It really has. So last couple of things to look at are the intake and how we're doing so far this season. First off, the intake. Only 2 players joined us. We've had a couple of really bad intakes. Benjamin Orsa comes in, and he is a right back who is fairly poor, but we needed a right back. And a central midfielder who is, if anything, is a little bit better, a bit more rounded, might develop. I'm not overly impressed, to be honest with you, about what came through the intake. So in terms of how we're doing so far in the league, a very successful season so far. A draw to HamKam and odds, but apart from that, victories all round. We are currently sitting top of the league after 10 games, and you can see this is why. Krall has 15 goals in his first 10 games this season. 73 appearances now in his career in the league for us now, with 62 goals. And let me tell you, this man is leading the club forward, but we need to fix the Norwegian leagues because we are really struggling in Europe, and this Build a Nation is currently going backwards. I've been Paul, also known as the Northman. I will see you next time.